to The Pit Stop, the weekly NASCAR podcast designed to help you get to know drivers better off the track. I am your host, Desmond Johnson. Rate and subscribe to Pit Stop with Desmond Johnson on iTunes. The show is also available weekly at Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Podbean, and more. On today's show, we have NASCAR Cup driver Brennan Poole. He is the driver of the number 15 Chevy Camaro for Premium Motorsports. Brennan, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to get to chat with you a little bit today.
Absolutely. So this is the name of the game. We basically ask the NASCAR drivers once a week here during the NASCAR season questions about their lifestyle and things that they like, things that they may not be prepared to answer. I promise not to put you too much on the spot here, Brennan, but the goal is to fans like myself who are just now kind of being introduced to NASCAR, fans like myself, or people that are maybe curious about NASCAR, want to know a little bit more about the drivers. This is designed for them. So this is basically a question and answer period with Brennan Poole here, driver of the number 15 Chevy Camaro. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Heck yeah, hit me with them.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So question number one for Brennan Poole, who will be running at Homestead Speedway in Miami Sunday, 3:30 p.m. on Fox in the Dixie Vodka 400. Who do you look up to or aspire to be like? Did you admire an athlete or some sort of prominent figure growing up? Who was that and why?
Yeah, I mean, as a race car driver, the first place I ever drove a race car was at this track called Capitol in Rio Linda, California, and it's the same track that Jeff Gordon first ever drove at. So for me as a kid, I always looked up to him and tried to follow as much as I could in his footsteps and try to take the same sort of path that he did. I didn't do sprint cars and stuff like that, but I tried to, go about things the way that he went about things to get to this point. So I always looked up to him. My dad was a huge golfer. And so we actually took a lot of the Lee Trevino theories when I was younger and traveling around. He used to say, if you could travel around and beat any of the pro golf champions, that you might have a pretty good chance of being a pro golfer. So we kind of drove around the country when I was younger and tried to race, the track champions. And my dad kind of just took the same approach. If I was able to beat these track champions around the country, that I might have a chance at being able to make it. And so we did that. We followed those things. So probably those two guys. Golf was really heavy in my life because my dad was such a big fan of it. And then, of course, racing, man. I looked up to all the racers as a kid. And now I would probably say I look up a lot to Kevin Harvick. I really appreciate his driving style and the way he approaches races, and his mental game is so strong. And so that's somebody I look up to right now.
On the line with us here in the pit stop, Brennan Poole, NASCAR Cup driver of the number 15 Chevy Camaro. He also drives part-time in the NASCAR Gandar R&V and Outdoor Truck Series, driving the number 29 and 30 Toyota for On Point Motorsports. Brennan, what is your favorite television show of all time and why?
This one's probably kind of silly. So my favorite TV show of all time, I probably would say, is Supernatural. I am just I'm obsessed with the show. The new seasons just dropped on Netflix, so I'm gonna be watching those probably here as we're traveling a bunch for these races now. But I just I don't know. I always kind of into ghosts and all that kind of stuff, and the two characters in Supernatural basically fight ghosts and demons and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm just obsessed with that show. So that's been something I've really enjoyed. But I also really like a lot of cooking shows. I don't know if have you checked out Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix? It's so funny and so good. It's so good. Yeah. He goes around to all these different countries and he tries all these different cuisines, and it's just it's so informing, and you get to see all these different cultures, but then also learn about the cuisine and all the different types of food. So I do love watching a lot of cooking shows, and I love Diner Dive-Ins and Drives and Chopped and Guys Grocery Games. I watch that stuff all the time. So
Oh, dude, we could sit on a couch together and hang out for 6 hours and just what could diners, drive-ins, and dives. That's my jam. I don't know why, but if it's on, it's one of those shows. I'll just leave it there, and they'll run like back to back.
I know you can't stop watching him. In fact,
so
during the quarantine on my Instagram, Lindsay, my girlfriend, and I did this deal where we filmed basically chopped episodes. Of course, she was the only contestant, but I would ask my fans and friends and stuff on Instagram, like to pick a crazy ingredient, or I would give them like two choices and they would vote on it. And then I would like surprise her with the ingredient in the last second and let her give her like a certain amount of time to make an appetizer and an entree. And I did it all on my Instagram stories, and they're still there on my main
Oh,
page if
nice.
you guys want to check it out. But that was
Yes.
a lot of fun. So, and people kept giving me a hard time. They're like, "Are you going to chop her?" I'm like, I don't think I can chop her. Okay, like I live with her and she's feeding me, so she doesn't get
Probably not a
chopped.
good idea.
But they were a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to chop the girlfriend for sure. And then part one of your answer there, Supernatural, it feels like it's been on for 30 seasons. Like it
Oh,
feels like
it
it's been on
has, man.
forever. How long
It's
has it
like
been on? What season is it in?
I think they're on season 16.
Oh my God.
But this is the last one. Yeah, if you want to check, if people want to go watch it, like you've got a lot of catching up to do because it is they're hour-long episodes, and like I said, 17 seasons. It's so much. I've probably watched it through a few times though. I'm not gonna lie. I whenever I like don't have anything to watch, or and I'm cruising through Netflix, I'm like, whatever. I'll watch some Supernatural. And so I've basically made Lindsay a fan because she's watched it several times now through. And of course, Jensen Ackles, who plays one of the main characters, Dean. He was at Kansas Motor Speedway last year. I think he was a grand marshal or gave the command. I can't remember.
Oh
So
wow.
he's a racing fan as well. So I was bummed out I didn't get to meet him last year. Maybe he'll come again because I am
Yeah, maybe
a big fan.
we'll try to tag him in this. So let him know that you're a huge fan. So we'll see if we can get him to get out there on the track here. Here with Brennan Poole, NASCAR Cup driver, the number 15 Chevy Camaro for Premium Motorsports. Brennan, how many speeding tickets have you gotten before?
I think I've gotten 4 speeding tickets in my time driving. Nothing too crazy, like a casual. I think I got a couple 80s on 70-mile-an-hour freeways or
I was
65
gonna
or whatever they're
I
called.
was gonna ask you what's the fastest you've ever been clocked on a speeding ticket?
Yeah, it was 80, I think. I got a six one time, like on a back road. I was cruising, and I think I got a 60 in a 45, which it's just you're just like cruising around back road. There's nobody around, and then sure enough, you pass a cop sitting there in a dirt road or something, and then
Yeah.
there you go. I did get pulled over one time by a cop. I was going through a neighborhood, and I got the ticket actually got thrown out because I was going 5 over, but it was in a neighborhood, and it was a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in a neighborhood, and I was going 30, and this cop just walked out of the bushes and stopped me. This was in Texas, and just like stood in the street and put his hand out and stopped me, and I'm like, what the heck? And he was
Like
like,
a movie.
the usual. Yeah, the usual deal. How fast you're going? I'm like, yeah, like, I mean, not very fast, like probably 30 or so, 25, 30, right in that window. And he was like 30, and he gave me a ticket. But I guess he had given like 10 other people tickets in that same day in that same
Oh my
spot, like
gosh.
walking out of the bushes. And yeah, and they got thrown out, so nothing happened with it. But yeah, that was crazy. That was like a crazy experience. I've seen that
Yeah.
or heard of that happening before.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been pulled over by a policeman for a speeding ticket with the policeman being on foot. That's
Yeah.
different. That's a whole
I
other
know
level.
it was the craziest thing I've ever experienced, but I guess just one of those deals. Whatever. Walked right out of the bushes, like I didn't even see him. Just walked out of the bushes into the street, out like in the neighborhood, and just stopped me. I'm like, what the heck? It was wild.
That guy he probably practiced it a little bit, like he's crouched down, like this is a good hiding spot. Oh, I'm gonna get him right here. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. I was gonna ask if you've ever gotten out of a ticket, but you said you got out of that one kind
Yes,
of probably,
I did.
I guess, because everyone that went through there that period probably got out of that ticket
Yeah.
as well. So Brennan, now I ask this to all the drivers when they come onto the pit stop, because I'm always intrigued about what people eat. Like and you seem to be a man cut from the same cloth, considering that you love Chopped and these cooking shows that are near and dear to my heart as well. What's your favorite meal after a long weekend race? And we know you're going to be in Miami this Sunday after you're done, driving 400 miles. You finally get home. You and Lindsay are there chilling. What's the meal that you guys go get, or you cook that's like your standby go-to, this is what I'm going to eat after a long race type of meal?
Well, I bounce between usually just two things. And if I'm coming straight home after a race, like I've done these many weekends, here previously where I just drive home, whether I'm driving back from Martinsville or Darlington or Atlanta or Bristol, these tracks that are pretty within driving distance. Usually it's pizza. Lindsay orders. Usually I want like a Domino's pan pizza because you're just like, you put out a lot of energy and you just want something that's just kind of
Those
gross, I
carbs.
guess. So yeah, just like bread, like loaded on. And so she usually gets orders out for me, and I come home and we eat a pizza together and hang out for a minute before I go to sleep. But if not, like usually if I'm on the road or I'm traveling or we're coming back, flying back home or whatever, I usually like to stop after a race and just get a cheeseburger. I don't know what it is, but I just always crave a cheeseburger. And it usually, like I love Five Guys. I love
Mm.
just like a couple. I love Culver's, but Culver's is kind of hard to find. Like those Culver cheeseburgers are amazing. I was able to get one after the Atlanta race because there's several Culvers down there, but those are like, if I could get a cheeseburger, that's usually what I'll go for. Or if I'm coming straight home, I'll have Lindsay order a Domino's pizza or something like that.
I've never heard of Culver's before, but you again, a man cut from the same cloth as myself. Cheeseburgers are kind of my go-to as well. If you're ever in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area, there is a place here called Hops. I actually just ate there yesterday. Hops Burger Bar. There's one in Winston and there's one in Greensboro over by UNCG's campus. They were rated like the best burger in the country by a couple of different publications. It's really
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. I lived literally. I graduated from UNC Greensboro back in 03, and Hops came a little bit after that. And I've moved since then closer to Winston-Salem. And before Winston got the location, I would drive from where I am in Kernersville all the way to Greensboro just to get that hamburger, which would drive my wife nuts that I would drive 30 minutes just to go get a hamburger. But foodies
Sometimes you got to
understand
do
it.
that.
Hey
Yeah.
man, sometimes you gotta
Sometimes
do
you
what
got
you
to
gotta
make that
do.
fit. Yeah. No, I go through Winston-Salem occasionally. I'll have to check that out because
Yeah.
I love food, man. We here in Charlotte, Lindsay and we check out a bunch of different places. I would say burgers is up there as one of my favorite things. And I also really like Mexican food, being a guy that grew up for the most part in Houston, Texas. We moved there when I was 7 from California, and so Mexican food is something that we're always like driving around and like searching for good places. When a new place opens up, we go check it out, and we got a few places that we like around here in the Charlotte area that we return to. There's this Tex-Mex place in South End Charlotte that's called Saprica, and it is really, really good. They have some stuff that really reminds me of being back home. It's never quite the same as being home where you grew up, but it's very, very good.
I would be amiss if I didn't run it back just a little bit to your whole Domino's pan pizza thing. Like, we got to do better, Brennan. We got to do better than Domino's
I,
pan pizza.
I know, man, but there's something about so like I do struggle finding like great pizza. There are a few places here in the Charlotte area and close to where I live. There's this one pizza place. It's called Alino's, I think, that's in Mooresville area where a lot of the race shops and teams and stuff are, and it has really good pizza. But
Mm.
yeah, man, I mean, like late at night, you get home, it's midnight or so. Domino's, man, they deliver late. I'll just try pan pizza. I'll do it. I don't care. But yes, I hear you.
Hey, man, a man of conviction for sure. Brennan Poole, driver, the number 15 Chevy Camaro, here with us on the pit stop. I am your host, Desmond Johnson. One final question for Brennan here. It's kind of funny whenever I ask drivers this question, they either light up because no one really asks them this question, or they have a hard time trying to figure out what the answer is. Brennan, what is the best Christmas gift you've ever received and why?
Well, I not a lot of people know, but I do play a lot of guitar. I play music, and I'm not the best singer now. Okay, I will sing to myself, but it is terrible. Make you maybe want to cut your ears off. But I got my dad. I've got a few guitars. I have a collection. Lindsay, my girlfriend, her dad was in the music business, and he helped launch a lot of very successful artist careers. So I have a couple of signed guitar. I've been collecting a little bit here over the years. I have a guitar that's signed by the band Lit. I have a Puddle of
Oh
Mud
yeah.
signed guitar. But my favorite guitar that I play a lot, my dad got me a Gibson Les Paul, and it's a limited edition. It's this very pretty, like dark pearl blue, and it's got like almost like a kind of like a rough metal looking plate and stuff like that on it, and it's just a really cool guitar. They didn't make a whole lot of them, so I have like a certificate of authenticity for it and all that. And
Wow.
and it's just a collector's type of guitar, and so I've got that. And that's probably one of the best gifts that I've ever received, just because I love music so much, and then to be able to have such a nice piece was just really special to me, But there's been a lot of gifts that I've gotten over the over the years. My dad got me, when I was a kid. I loved driving things and whatever. And at the racetrack when I was younger, all these kids had like go-pads, like little motorized scooters that we ride all around race weekends and stuff like that when we were kids. And kid, we would race everything, so kids were racing them. So I wanted to be able to race with the kids and do all that. And my dad got me a go-pad one year, and man, I rode that thing till it wouldn't go anymore, man. I think I would run circles and like literally lay rubber down and on the street that we lived on, and I had like a track with rubber bit laid down on it because I would run
Nice.
so many laps on that thing, during the school year and during the week. So, and that was a lot of fun too.
Well, hey, Brennan, I've had a lot of fun, asking these questions, getting to know you a little bit better. I'll definitely be checking out for you going forward. I know this weekend you'll be in Miami, Homestead Speedway for the Dixie Vodka 400. That's Sunday at 3:30 p.m. on Fox. Definitely check them out. Brennan Poole, the number 15 Chevy Camaro driver for Premium Motorsports. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Pit Stop.
Yeah, thanks. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to my YouTube channel, which you might appreciate watching, because I've been doing this thing weekly because I've been sitting in my car at these races, and like I'm eating my lunch and my dinner, and I have this thing called Cooler Time, and I go through the
Yes.
cooler and I show what Lindsay has made for me for dinner or lunch before the race. So you have to check it out.
I'm
I think you'll
subscribing.
get a kick out of it.
I'm
But
heading
thanks
as
for
soon
having
as
me
we're
on.
done.
It
As soon as I'm done
was
here, I'm going to go over there and subscribe to it for sure. Definitely, we'll definitely be checking you out this weekend, Brennan, and good luck to you the rest of the NASCAR season, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.